Here to talk about it and the experience is the founder of FireDogLake, Jane Hamsher. Jane, tell us what happened to you yesterday.
Well, a little bit of context. David House is a friend of Bradley Manning's, didn't actually know him very well, from the Boston hacker community. And when Bradley was arrested, the members of the community got together and they put together the Bradley Manning Defense Fund. And ever since that time, the government has been investigating them. They had the Department, the Army counterintelligence operation was investigating them, and Robert Gates himself said he wanted to put the FBI on it so that, because the FBI could prosecute civilians and the Army couldn't. They brought Homeland Security in. David House was detained at the airport when he was traveling out of the country. His computer was seized. He was questioned for 3 hours about why he goes to see Bradley Manning. And they've managed to intimidate everybody from going to see Manning at all. David is the only one who goes to see him. And about a month ago on your show, David spoke out about Bradley's conditions. And my only role is that I have taken David down to visit Bradley. I'm just a chauffeur, and I let him stay at my house when he comes to town. And every time we've been before, things have been fine. But ever since David spoke out, things have been tense. They put Bradley on suicide watch last week, which means that for 24 hours a day, he can't do anything. He can't leave the cell. Yeah. It's complete isolation. So this was an attempt to keep David from seeing Bradley, and they did that successfully.
I just want to play a clip of David House on the show a few weeks ago.
Over the several months I've been visiting him, I've noticed a remarkable decline in his psychological state and his physical well-being. I definitely think the conditions he's being kept in are inhumane, and they're starting to weigh on his personality and his physical appearance to a great degree.
Are you fearful, Jane, that your presence here today is going to lead them to further abuses of Bradley Manning?
Well, I think that the only thing that's going to stop the abuses of Bradley Manning is if people start asking questions. And you brought up a really good point, Dylan. Nobody actually knows what Manning did. He's never said what he did. All the information that we know about what may have happened come from a very unreliable source, a hacker named Adrian Lameau, who has given 7 different stories to 7 different people. He's the only witness that anybody has ever heard from, and his story has been discredited many times. I don't know what Manning did. I don't know whether it was heroic or whether it was horribly illegal. Nobody does. The point is that he hasn't been tried, and they are, at the same time that they are trying to make their case against Julian Assange by getting Bradley Manning to flip on him, they are treating Manning in a way that they say is for his own good. But 3 independent psychologists at the brig, psychiatrists, have said that he's no risk for suicide. But what they don't want to be called putting him in solitary confinement, so they just classify him as instead, and it is torture.
But what is the implication for a nation theoretically of rules and laws and rights and all the rest of it that we teach our kids in public school, where clearly the government retains the right to arbitrarily detain any individual that they see fit for whatever reasons that they see fit, not charge them and torture them in our own country? What does that say about the President Obama?
Well, it means, and I think it was Jenny Jardin of Boing Boing who said, we should all be very worried because this represents the offshoring of what the techniques that are used on Guantanamo Bay against enemies of the state onto U.S. soil. So I hope that everybody, no matter what you think of what Bradley Manning may have done or what he didn't do, are very concerned about this. Enemies, our government, we have become a country of laws, of men and not laws, if we allow this to happen. So I was very happy to be there yesterday. I'm really proud of David House. He is absolutely heroic in what he's doing. He has refused to be intimidated, and I was really proud to be with him there yesterday.
And when you think about other countries, China with its political prisoners, they love to make movies about Nelson Mandela in South Africa. There's all sorts of South American countries that are famous for imprisoning political dissidents. How much of a difference do you view there is in this country in our treatment of those who we would want to imprison and torture at the will of the government, and those that we would theoretically imagine ourselves to be different from?
Well, Jake Tapper asked Robert Gibbs today, for the very first time anybody has asked Robert Gibbs about Manning's condition. So I hope now that the president is made aware of it, and Gibbs said he would look into it, that we do hear something from the administration and that they can prove that we don't treat people like this.
Okay, listen, wonderful. Jane, I'm glad you were able to share your story with us. Jane Hamsher, FireDogLake.